We're going to mix it up today. We have Giles from Home Theater Fanatics in the house, and he just got back from Axpona 2022. That's the Audio Expo North America. And we're just going to talk about kind of what Giles thought of the show, um, anything that he saw that stood out, and right.
But no, we'll go through and I'll talk through photos and I can scroll through them and I can point out some things that I saw that were interesting. And I mean, there was tons of good stuff at the show. Oh
Right.
my goodness. I heard a whole bunch of things that were awesome. And then I heard some things that I thought would be awesome that I didn't like at all. So,
Right.
it's like a
Okay,
lot of
so
surprising
let's start
things.
out with most surprising. If that's, is there something that pops into your mind?
Uh, yeah. So most surprising, okay, there's a bunch of them, but like the new Bowers and Wilkins Diamond D, I forget the model number. I'm not the best person
Okay,
to spew off
these
all
are like the
the numbers.
$30,000 speakers.
35,000 a pair, I
Okay,
think, and they
yeah,
replaced the V3s this year, and I did not like the V3s. Now they're great speakers, right? But
right.
I didn't like them at all. But these new ones, oh my god, these are good, right? So whatever sound organization is doing, not sound organization, Sound United, whatever Sound United's
Yep.
doing, keep doing it because these are awesome.
All
These are
right.
really good. Yeah. So yeah, ASS. I love to
Yep.
say, hey, ASS.
Hey, audio
Yeah, the
system
D4s.
specialist in the live
Keep
chat. Yeah.
yeah, keep me straight on the models and that kind of stuff. But the new D4s, oh my god! Not that I would ever spend $35,000 on a pair of speakers because I just don't have $35,000 to spend on a pair of
Right.
speakers. But if I were, these
Okay.
would make it onto the list of ones that I wanted to buy. They were good, and
All right.
and I'm a big proponent of let's add a subwoofer so we can have full range, right? But
Right.
these, man, I
All
don't know if I
right.
even need it, and that's for me to say that
All right.
that's really high praise. I mean,
Okay.
I felt comfortable just listening to these as they were. I'm like, "Oh my god, they're awesome." They should
All
be,
right.
right?
Should we switch the screen over for some of your photos, or how do you
Yeah,
want to?
pop it up and we can man, there's a lot. We will just scroll through and as I see things that I remember. All right, so, um, I can't sleep when I go to shows, so it's just like insomnia for me the whole time. So I
Yep.
arrived Thursday night at like 11 o'clock. So I started walking around and I took a few shots to help people understand kind of what the show would be like. So this is a picture of a hotel hallway, right? So
Mm-hmm.
half of the show is in just normal hotel rooms. So you'd go up to floors 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14, 15, and 16. And then every third room or so would be a demo room, right? And then there would be a
Right.
sign posted beside the door showing what's in there. And you just go in and sit down and listen. But they also had larger rooms, this size where you'd walk in, it'd be a big ballroom and they'd have a huge setup. Macintosh said, hey, let me just throw $50,000 worth of stuff in the hallway, or $100,000 or 200,000. I don't know how much this stuff costs, but a lot, right? And it's just hanging out there, and you're like, oh, look, it's Thursday night. Always wanted a Macintosh. I wonder if they would miss one.
So
Um,
it's not even connected. It looks like it's just
um, I
demoed.
don't. I no, it's connected. You could there.
Okay.
This was ready to go, powers everything, and they just Friday morning they just turned it on, so it's good to
Okay.
go. And so this was but it's just sitting in the hall, right?
Okay.
That was kind of interesting. And people put up their signs and stuff, and this is just a picture of things before
This is
people
all
arrive.
before it started, I think
Yeah,
you're
this is
showing
all
now.
before it started. And so here's like registration, and this is just stuff so people can kind of get an idea of facilities. Oh, I thought this was just a really cool thing at the hotel where you could go hang out. And then I saw Airtie as I was walking around. They were in 1515, and these guys are awesome. And I have pictures inside the room once they opened up, and it was really good. And I love the aesthetic of that speaker. I mean, it just looks so good. And then I'm like, oh, look, Sound United. And I'm like, 14 is like the Sound United floor because they had like 4 rooms or something. And I'm like, oh, they're taking over for more than one sense. And then orchestrals. This sign I thought was interesting. Get free T-shirts for 2 best reviewers every hour. And I'm all like, it's not the best review, but just the best reviewer. So do they just make us all stand there? And then as we come in, they're all like, oh no, we like you more. You get a T-shirt, but we don't like, get out. Yeah. So, I don't know. Another one of my friends, Alta Audio, I saw their room as I was walking around, and I love the sign here. Noise floor so low, it's like the vacuum of space. And I'm all like, that's a pretty low noise floor. I mean, and then you could go up. This was like taken from 7. And the hotel's kind of hollow all the way up to 7, and you can
Right.
walk around, and if you really didn't like one of the vendors, you just throw them off and they fall to their death. um so I'm all like, hope no fights break out. And then you could go and eat and stuff, and look, it's a picture of food. Everybody takes pictures of food, right? Who wants to see this? Nobody. And my two buddies were there. So that's Hi-Fi
Okay. Who are
Turtle,
your
Ray
two
on.
buddies?
Yeah,
Okay.
so Ray on the right, that's Hi-Fi Turtle, and Dan on the left is Bass Therapy. And I think this was Dan's first show ever. He's a younger guy, 21, and he was just going nuts the entire time. I mean, he was just like, it was crazy. He was super, super, super duper happy. And it was nice to have these guys to hang out with and walk around. And one of the first rooms that we went into was the Focal and name room. And Focal they're just awesome. I mean, they're really good. And, you get the Utopia line, and those aren't the Grands, but those are still pretty nice. And they actually were one of two companies that had a home theater set up there that I saw. So they had home theater set up in the back, and they were doing a 7-2-4 setup, and then SVS had a 5-2-2 setup, but that was in a hotel room in a smaller space.
Hmm.
Um,
So
but they
let me get this right. There were two home theater demos out of 100, maybe, or
At a two-channel show, yeah,
okay.
which which is awesome because usually there are no home theater setups at a two-channel show.
And there was nothing like spatial audio wise that
Well,
I
that's
mean, this
spatial
doesn't
audio.
right, but I mean, this doesn't have to be two channel, like it's audio. Aren't we trying to get the best sound out of whatever number of speakers we have?
I'm sure everybody is, but I think that the strong bias for this show in many shows is
Yeah.
that they are considered to be two-channel shows, and
Okay.
then something like Cedia is
Yep.
considered to be more of a home theater type show. So my point is that in these shows that traditionally have catered exclusively to high-end two-channel,
Hmm.
you are now seeing them become more broad, and you have a headphone area, you have
Right.
multi-channel home theater stuff, you have price points much lower than $55,000 a pair of speakers. So I think the show has become much more accessible to a broader
Gotcha.
customer base as it has been traditionally in the past. And this isn't anything particular to Xpona. This is
Right.
just two-channel shows in general. And most people think when they think of Xpona, that's it's a
Yeah.
two-channel show, right? So I thought it was absolutely outstanding that Focal and SVS both were
Yeah, I
there
know.
with
I think
multi-channel
it's great
setups.
too. I just
Yeah.
thought there could be some more, but yeah. So keep
Oh,
going.
I would hope that there will be more in the future too. So, Sound United in particular, I would love to see multi-channel setup from those guys because they have all the brands to do that. They have, Denon,
Right.
and all of the Polk stuff is really great multi-channel. Bowers and Wilkins, tons of multi-channel stuff. So they would be a really great company to maybe do one of those in the future as well.
All
I
right.
don't think I have a picture of the Focal two-channel setup, and I'm gonna go through these fast because there's like 1,000 of these photos. But this thing right here, I thought was pretty
That's the
cool.
name statement, I think,
Yeah,
something like that.
the big monster. So they were using
Shoot.
this as the
Yep.
the the centerpiece of their main two-channel setup. It's cool. I don't know that I could actually fit that in my house anywhere, but it's a absolute beast.
I think
Um,
that's a six-figure system, if I'm not mistaken.
I would not doubt it. It probably weighs 600 pounds too. Uh, And then I point this out because I love beryllium,
Mm,
and they use that in their high end stuff. It's really really nice. And then speakers that are really cool. They have really special inputs on the back, and like the Maestro Utopia Evos. I just
mm,
love the way that you input stuff, and then you see how you have the little jumpers at the top to do things. I just
right.
think that's super nifty. You can do your own little crossover settings for your space. Um, and
Oh,
then, gosh, oh
is
yeah,
that a home theater?
I guess this is their home theater. I totally have a picture of their home theater. Um,
Uh, this
and
is the name? No.
no,
Who'd you
this is
switch
Focal.
to? Oh, this is Focal.
This is
Okay.
Focal, and then they're using their processor, which is based off the Storm audio technology. Couple of subs, and then they're using bouncy house speakers. So they didn't actually mount anything in the top. These were actually if you look at that one in the foreground in the front left,
Right.
that's their bouncy house Atmos speaker, and they also had that in the left and right channel in the front as well, so you can get a .4. And the effect was quite good in this space. It was nice. I thought it sounded really, really, really good.
What
And
line of Focal is that? Do you
it's a
know?
good question. Have no idea.
All right.
Audio system specialists, tell us.
Eh,
Um, I don't know. I'm one of those guys that I have to go back and look at my notes and create a post, and I don't remember everything off the top of my head, unfortunately. But someone out there will know and be able to tell us. And then, hey, there's more of us being cool because we're
All
being
right. So
awesome.
when you guys were all hanging out, oh, it was the choral line from Focal, we think. But I'm curious, when you guys were all hanging out, did you agree or disagree more often when it came to hearing different
We would
systems?
generally agree, but the agreement varied by degree, if that makes
Mm,
sense. We'd both say, "Oh, that was good," or "Oh, we didn't care for that too much," and generally that would line up. But then there'd be times where we're like, "Okay, this was really awesome," and somebody else would say, "Oh, it was all right. I didn't think it was all that." I'm like, "Oh no, man, that's the best ever." But um, you know, uh, we all like the new diamonds. We all thought those were surprisingly good. We also really liked. Here, I'll get to some more of this stuff, and I'll tell you what we really liked and we didn't like. Obviously, Ray likes anything with Focal written on it. He's a huge Focal fanboy for good reason because it's really awesome stuff. So he really enjoyed that. I love Focal too. Focal was doing like a ISO Acoustics, I think it was set up here, and they were showing. So that's the same speaker, and one's on the bass and one's not on the bass, and they were trying to show the difference in those things.
yep.
And that was kind of interesting. Lots
You
of
just
headphone
showed some
stuff.
pictures of the Isotech, um, I think they're Isotech absorbers. Did you get a
There's
chance to
yeah,
try those out?
I I've never used them myself. They look cool.
Mm,
Ray, not Ray, Dan thought he liked them a lot when he listened to the demo. He's like, yeah, you can tell the difference. From my
okay.
point of view, I don't know, but I think they look really cool. And I have a pair of bookshelves that I'd like to put on something like that. I just don't actually have a pair of these to test with. But they seem cool. And then we listened to some Focal headphones, and I'm gonna so if we talk about every photo, we'll be here for a
Yeah, yeah.
long time.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
gonna try and go through stuff fast.
Skip over what really stood out, and I'll let you run with it. I won't
Sure, yeah.
interject now.
Oh, and here are the Bentleys. Uh, I don't know what model it is, but it's the Bentley version of one of their headphones, and it's only like $1,500. Sounded great, but they can't keep these in stock. I mean, they're just gone. They're like, all we have is one pair left, and we're not even going to put them on demo. But we were like, hey, we'll put them on Instagram if you let us take a photo. And they're like, all right, and they pulled them out of the box for us, and I put it on, and I discovered that my head's like really pointy and flat on top. Um,
Looks really good on you. I think they could be your new channel microphone if
They
they're
do look
comfortable.
really good, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Man, they fit pretty well too," compared to the ones that I have now that I don't like. Um, so, I start getting into I don't remember what speaker this is, but it looks kinda cool kinda stuff.
Right.
Um, and, uh, and there are a lot of photos like that, and I don't know anything about high-end record players,
Okay.
so I
That's
took
a
a lot of pictures of those, but, like, here's a big plexiglass one that's shiny with silver, and it looks like it's a Relista or a Regista or something like that.
hmm,
I don't know, and then, uh, Crystal Connects by Crystal Cable, and I thought these speakers were really nice because 'cause they're lime green, and these
okay.
are Win Audio.
Okay.
They sounded good, but the statement of the color was pretty rocking. And, the Dyne Audios, we listened to what is it? The something 50s, the not Comfort 50s, but the Commander
Contour.
Condor
Contour fit.
50s, maybe what it was.
Okay.
And those it's not these, it's a different pair. Um, if I have a photo of them, I don't think I do. We're in something else now. But we agreed that the Dyne Audio main setup was one of the very best that we heard of show.
Wow.
And it's up there maybe for me for best to show. Yeah, I don't even have a picture of them, but it was
So not the
ooh.
ones you're showing in the picture. There's
Yeah, no,
another one.
they're the taller ones that looks like it has the faceplate kinda bolted onto the front of it.
Okay.
Um,
Will you get to them in the
no,
picture
I if I don't
somewhere?
have them in order, I don't think I
Oh,
ever went back to the room.
Okay.
because we're into legacy now, and the legacy stuff was really good too.
So
Um,
just real quickly, you like the Dyn Audio better than the Bowers and Wilkins you previously
um,
thought different?
so you're going to get into, it gets very difficult to say if I liked once you get to a certain level, did I like it better, or was one better or worse? I mean, you start getting into a lot of specific stuff. What's your use case, and what kind of room do you
Yeah.
have, and what is your amplification like, and what are you trying to accomplish, and what about this and this, right? Like the Bowers and Wilkins specifically, I would probably be more apt to play them full range by themselves, whereas the Dynaudio stuff I might want to add a sub onto to get, that 20 to 30 hertz kind of fill, or 10 to 20, just super low end infrasonic
Mm,
kind of stuff that I like to have hanging around, that other folks wouldn't care about at all. They're like, you don't need that, because I'm just going to play guitar music and it doesn't go down that low anyway, right?
right.
But I play a lot of content that is electronica and that kind of stuff, and it does have super low stuff, and I want to be able to reproduce that. So um, the Dyn Audio was outstanding. The Bowers and Wilkins new version of the D4 is outstanding,
Mm,
both superb, and it's going to come down to you listening to them and making a decision. That's what's so great about the show. You
right.
get an opportunity to go listen to these things, because once you get to a certain level,
Right.
it becomes very subjective. It
Mm,
becomes very cost based, and the aesthetics become a very important piece of things too. Because I think that the Bowers and Wilkins D4s look better than the top end
right.
Dynaudios, right? Whereas somebody else might not. But man, I would be super proud to put a pair of those Dynaudios in my house, even if
Um,
I think something else looks better.
do
Um,
you remember the amplification used with each,
um,
or were they in the
it
photos?
if it's in the photo and someone knows what brand it is,
Okay,
that's the answer.
that's it.
Over the 150 rooms I looked at in 5,000 amplifiers, I will have zero recollection off the
Okay.
top of my head of what was used with what. That there's, and honestly, I wasn't paying terribly close attention, because I was just out there having fun, walking around, listening to stuff. Man, that's good. Let me snap this picture,
Yep.
kind of experience. I wasn't there to do show coverage for anyone.
Right.
So this was just, me having fun, because this is what I love so much. And man, just the legacy. I love these two. And I thought this picture is very interesting. This is one of the legacy guys, I think, but I'm all like, oh man, this is like very 80s kind of, made me think of, what's that band from, like, I don't know, that part of the world, Denmarkish kind of thing, that had all the hits like in the 70s. Um,
ABBA? You talking
yeah,
about?
it's like, it made me feel like ABBA-esque.
All right.
Um, yeah, whatever these are from Legacy were freaking
Let's see.
monsters. These were good.
All right.
Oh man, and I put a short video up about these, because on the back there are another couple of drivers. So if you go to my Instagram, it's the one that says Legacy has a secret or
Mm,
whatever, and you can see their secret there. Um, Audio company, I thought these were very pretty. And those amplifiers, whatever they are,
mm,
just look at them. I mean,
yeah.
holy smokes, that's crazy.
That's some cabling for you.
That's like probably $1 million of cables.
That looks like
You know what I
that
mean?
looks like snakes running through there,
Yeah,
like
and the cable
boa
risers look like
constrictors.
upside down cups. They might, maybe they left their cable risers at home, and they just went and got some of those little tiny short cups that you put orange juice in that are made of plastic. I don't know, but the VAC gear,
Mm,
it sounded so good. I mean, that record player is kind of ridiculous. Like I said, I'm not super hardcore into the vinyl, so I don't know what
right.
the functionality or the additional benefit is there. But it super looks cool. It's like the 4-story tall record player. It's really gorgeous.
Do you recall the percentage of demos that were vinyl versus streaming versus CD?
Um, I would say that 80% were, well, okay. Most of the demos actually came off of hard drive, local storage, digital media, because people were having so many problems
Mm,
with Wi-Fi and internet. Some folks could get streaming to work, some could not. And then the rest were vinyl, and almost none were reel to reel. So reel to reel, maybe I saw one reel to reel running, although I saw 3 or 4 in different rooms, although they really weren't doing anything. Vinyl, maybe up to 20%, something like that. But most demos were coming digitally one way or
hard
another.
drive.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
mostly hard drive. Um, and every setup had some type of digital source for sure. Like this has got everything, right? It's got vinyl, it's got a CD player, it's got streaming, it's got music server. So, most setups would have, many would have everything, but most music I heard was all digital based.
Mm.
All right. These Scania loudspeakers,
Mm-hmm.
line array kind of technology. These are okay. They weren't my favorite, and I don't really like the aesthetic too much. But they were fine. I think it's going to take somebody who's really into that brand to really go for it. They were all right. And okay, you have to realize when I say they're all right, that means that they were all right in the context of we're looking at the
Mega
top end of the
expensive.
top end,
Right.
right?
Right.
Right. So that degree of difference, they would sound awesome anywhere. So I don't want people to be like, oh, those sound bad. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just
Right.
saying they didn't make the rest of my hair fall out or something. You know what I mean? Where I was like super surprised, like, oh my God, this is super crazy. Now all this stuff is good. If anything's bad, I'll just tell you it was bad. It had a problem.
Okay, just
Um,
tell us, was there
yeah.
anything really bad?
I heard a couple of speakers that were just way too bright for me that I didn't like at all. And when I get to them, I'll tell you. And I'm sure they'll never want to do anything with me, but it's all right. These Magicos, oh,
Okay.
these were good. Oh my
All
God,
right.
this Luxman room, it sounded so good. It was, yeah. If you're not a believer in Magico, man, just become a believer. It's really awesome stuff. Borison, these guys, oh man, the bookshelves sound awesome, and they had the bigger ones in a different room, and just such good stuff. If you don't know those guys, you should check those out. These are super surprising. So these are Acora, and they're granite speakers, and it's just two drivers in the tweeter, but there was so much bass. And we were walking up looking behind the curtain for a subwoofer. We're like, no, there's no way possible. And I still don't believe how it's possible. But these things were just rocking down low. I mean, it was just amazing. So this one, this is one where I was like, I can't believe it. Right. So this one did kind of make me say, holy smokes, this is not what I expected at all.
Just based on the base, though. Based on the
No,
base
just
was
the whole package. I
oh,
didn't expect they would have that much bass. They sounded great. They were amazing, and they sounded very full range. And I was just shocked. I did not expect them to sound as good as they did, and they were really good. So check out Acora Acoustics. I mean, these things sounded super good. Proof's in the pudding, and they've got a lot of good tasting pudding. And everybody knows who this is.
Cobuzz.
Cobuzz, David Solomon.
Mr. Cobuzz. Yep.
What's up? And he was actually there to talk about the chorus too. And he always starts out with, I only get to do this for 5 or 6 different companies throughout the show. And I'm very happy that I get to do it for these speakers because it's really great, blah, blah. And I'm like, whatever. And then they turned him on. I'm like, oh yes, now I see why. Yeah. Preach, sir. I'm picking it up. I don't remember what these were at all. They were okay, but they look cool, but another big line array. CAT, these sounded good. All the cat gear. I've always, and that's the amplification. I just wondered because there's another cat, California Audio Technology, but this is not that cat. So I guess I don't. There's 2 companies with the same name. I'm gonna start blasting through this stuff. I would say to the crowd, if there's anything you want me to stop on, let me know, but I can't hear you. So, and I can't even see the comments because I'm in my little app right now. And this is the AED, ADG, AG, I can't remember, AGD. They make really cool amplifiers. And I think maybe these speakers are theirs as well. And I see them at every show, and I always love to sit down and listen to their stuff. One day I would love to play with a couple of their amps and try them out in my own environment. I think their gear just is stunning. It's beautiful. Really, really good stuff. And the people are even nicer. Lumen, you saw a lot of Lumen hanging around in different places. They were all over the place. And then Pangea had a lot of their equipment there. And that's Steve Nemi. He's a really good guy. Runs Pangea Audio Distribution. Their stuff's nice and it's affordable too. People can actually buy this stuff and use it. It's really nice. Moving on. I don't know. These are Audiophysics. That's it. Audiophysics. I don't remember much about the sound, unfortunately. So a lot of these rooms, I just came in, took some pictures, and then dipped out. That NAD right there was a really cool piece of gear. I think that's the Model 33, something like that. Very cool. And then the one on top, I think might be a newer model, which is pretty nifty. I just love the display. I mean, those are the kind of source devices and integrateds that I like that look like that and have that kind of functionality with a nice display and that kind of thing, as opposed to some of the more traditional stuff. But that's just kind of personal preference. This kind of calls to me. That's kind of how I want to consume my music, coming through devices that look like that and have features like they have. Closer on the NAD there. Oh, that's another Pangea, right? Parasound gear. Okay, these and people will be able to know what they are just by looking at them, right?
Yeah,
But
what is this one?
I
What
don't
is
remember
that?
I don't remember the name of the speakers. Somebody out there will have to know what this is though, because it's so unique. And this was one of the rooms that did have a reel-to-reel. I was not super impressed by the room setup, and I'm hoping it's just the room, because these were just a little too bright and harsh for me. Something was going on, but I didn't care for it too much. Not my favorite to show for sure. I like the way that the amplification stack looks, but the speakers were not my cup of tea. I don't remember the brand. They don't have a big sign. They need a big sign. That's so vendors out there, you
There.
need to put a huge sign behind your speakers so that when people like me come through and take a snapshot really quick, and we don't remember what it is, the name will be there, right? So we can say, oh yeah, that was the XYZ speaker.
Right.
Um,
I can't even figure out how those work.
Well, so if you look at this picture, they're two drivers, and I don't know what the little tube between the magnets is for. Probably nothing other than aesthetics, but there's I don't know if the big. I think the big tube just acts as a box, so it's really just like two seal drivers in a cool box, and you're hearing the
Cool.
sound come off the back. And there you go. That's the size comparison with Hi-Fi Turtle.
We got a lot of
Uh,
hi-fi turtle in these pictures,
Oh,
so
there'll be a
that's
lot.
cool.
We all Dan and Ray and I, we all went to these rooms together, so they were in the shot from time to time. So this is back at that Focal room at the beginning,
Mm.
and with the big statement or whatever the name statement. But the two speakers in the middle, that's their on wall stuff,
Oh,
the
right,
ones that are
right.
on wall, and they sounded outstanding. Um, and I would love to have that in a home theater type of setup. They sounded really good. Listened to a few songs on those, and they were outstanding. So you've got the Wilsons and the Quintessence audio room. Quintessence had, I think, 3 rooms, and they were all superb. The Wilsons sounded great. And I've never been a huge big believer in the Wilsons, and you do the little micrometer and move the speaker around just a little bit, but they sounded awesome, right?
Right.
They're rather expensive, and they're statements, right? Visually, is it worth it? That's up to you. But man, they sounded great in this room. Sounded super good. I was not sad to listen to those at all. And these are the baby Wilsons, the what I call the Dalek model. And if anybody knows what that means, you can have your private laugh, and everybody else can then go Google and figure out what I'm talking about. Um, but several pictures of that. Let's get through this. Moon. And then Sonus Faber.
Mm.
These were rocking too. These were really good. And then one of my favorite amplifier companies, and they're just right up the road from me. That's Boulder. That's their 2-channel. And man, just if I could have a 2-channel amp of that quality and price point, I would probably take the Boulder over just about anything. I love it, but that's just personal preference.
Do you know what the price point is?
That was probably 60 grand, something like that. Just a guess. It's like a car.
More than a car? A couple
Yeah, a
cars?
very, very nice car, or 2 inexpensive cars, or actually 2 regular cars and 4 inexpensive cars. But yeah, I mean, but the speakers are probably 250,000. I don't know. Yeah, no, I love the Boulder gear, and the Boulder rep was there, and we Logan, and we hung out and talked. It was good to see him. I'm going to go up to the factory well, is it a factory? I guess it's a production facility, and go check that out as well. There's up in they're not in Boulder, they're just outside of Boulder in another town. So, but it's not too far from me, so I'm gonna go check that out. Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
This is not the one. This is not the one. These are different Bauer speakers. Still sounded good, but not the ones that I liked. I don't know. Is this Dolly?
It could be.
NAD.
No, it looks like
No.
PSB.
Yeah, this is PSBs. Yep, you're absolutely right. PSBs. Those guys. And then the huge horns, and these were massive. If you got a humongous house, they sounded great, but it takes up a lot of space. And I'm sure they cost an arm and a leg. But man, that is some esoteric audio right there. That's way out there. Another Colorado favorite of mine, YG Acoustics. And this from
Hi-Fi Turtle just showed up on the chat. So
all right on.
You've been in a bunch of pictures if you want to go
So
back,
Ray, you got to tell us I don't remember any of this stuff, and you know it all. Ray is absolutely amazing. Everybody out there, if you guys need any help with product or anything like that, Ray is the guy. You got to talk to Hi-Fi Turtle. He knows all this stuff so much better than I could ever hope to. He knows. So please, he's the man. He is the man. Talk with him. He can tell you everything. And he can comment. I should pay him to just go through my posts and put in the details and fact check them. And he's going to cringe as I talk about these things. I know he is. He's like, but these are YGs, and I believe these are using MDF as opposed to all aluminum build. So it's kind of interesting that they've changed up the production on those. This is Devalier, however you say it. And this was one of
their new sound bar.
Yes,
right?
This is one of the very few sound bars that I saw there. I'm trying to remember if I saw another sound bar. There might have been one or two more, but this
and Bass Therapy just showed up in the chat too. Sorry,
right on. Bass Therapy, we're talking about you. If you go look at my Instagram feed, you get to see Bass Therapy and also Ray Hi-Fi Turtle in the Tiger Fox.
Okay, I saw that. Are you going to have pictures of that coming up?
Yeah, there are pictures of the Tiger Fox coming up. A revolution in sound.
Okay, real quick, just go over I think you say DVLA. I don't know.
It's either DVLA or Devalier, probably DVLA,
something like that.
No, the sound bar sounded great. They're really good. I didn't get to hear I think the Wyman's are called the Phantom or something like that. I didn't hear those playing. I've heard those at Cedia, or at least the prior model, that are very similar before, and they're very cool. They're surprisingly good. Because they touted this as a Bluetooth speaker when they released it, and it will do Bluetooth obviously, but it sounds really good. It's high-end stuff. But that sound bar, it was nice. It was nice. I would not be shy to put that anywhere in my house. That
I think it's a $2,500, $2,400 sound bar, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know, maybe. Yeah.
I think so from what
that's not $2,400 for that. I wouldn't think about it twice. Sure, drop the cash. Just get it. Just buy it. Use it.
Just buy it.
Just buy it. No, it's good. It's good.
It's good.
Like, that's my recommendation. Just buy it. I like that they had a TV in there. That was good. I feel comfortable. Puts me in my safe spot, right? And I don't know what this is. I have no idea. If they didn't put a sign up with their name.
We need signs.
We got to have signs, folks. If you don't have a sign up, nobody will know. Here's another one. I don't know. There's no sign. No, this is isn't this I don't know. I have no idea. Let's keep going. All right, now we're into a room that I really like. This is
Perlison, right?
Yeah, these guys are awesome. And I got the three guys here. So these guys are masterminds behind Perlison, and it sounded awesome. Love it. I had the opportunity to review one of their subwoofers, and man, that it's just so strong, so good. The stuff's a bit pricey, it's on the spendy side, but man, it's really, really good. And this is their original series, and I think this is this like serial number 01 for their pre-production speaker. So like these are the originals that they ever built after they came up with everything. But they just released a new line of speakers that are very similar but at a lower price point. But I love this stuff. I would love to have seen this set up like in a full 5.2.4 system or something like that. Although I don't think they've got their Atmos speakers out yet. They're in ceiling in walls. I know they're working on those, but I didn't
Right.
see any there. Um, this is the sound of passion. So if you're a passionate person, this might be the speaker for you. And they are AQ speakers from the Czech Republic. I want to call it Czechoslovakia. And then we're back to more Wilsons in the Quintessence room.
All right. How far are we through your list so far? Just want to give me an
Not
idea.
far. Not
Not
far.
far. We got a
I'll go
long way to
faster.
go.
I got to go faster. Okay, Airtie. Love these. These are great. What's up, Airtie? This is the first time they're showing in the United States, from what I understand. They are new, and they're using my favorite speaker stand, so they get extra thumbs up. These are the MoFi speaker stands. They're just awesome. Still series, still something like that. Ray is like cringing again. He's like, "No, it's this thing, whatever." So make sure to correct me. And then look, a record player. It's happening with the Wilsons. There's more of Ray, and then the Valorium audio. These are pretty good. And then these crazy things.
Did you get
from
to hear
MBL.
those? Yeah, the
What's that?
MBLs. Did you
Oh,
get
the
to hear?
MBLs. Okay, so these MBLs. Let me get to them. These
Yeah.
aren't the big ones.
Yep.
The big ones have like 2 footballs each.
Right.
But these were awesome. Oh my god, they sounded so good. Yes.
Those are the ones I seem to like better than those big ones.
Really?
I've heard these and I thought they were better, but
you know what really makes the MBL sound so good? All the plants they put in. Whenever you go to an MBL room, it's always got a lot of plants in it. There's something to be said there about that. There's something going on. But they always put a lot of plants in.
Nature makes the sound better.
Well, I think it's because these are like
yeah.
omnidirectional speakers, right? So they're not point source kind of things. So there might be just something to a little diffusion or something coming off the plants or whatever. I don't know. But whatever they do, dude, it's just awesome. I love these. They are so good. More pictures than usual of these two because I like them. I sat there for a little while. We'll go fast through. ATC, right? Yeah. These are really good too. I enjoyed these. And then we get to the IED of the show. So it's like an improvised explosive device. It's really crazy. I mean, this room was crazy. So this guy, he was just hanging out, right? And he didn't say anything to anybody, but we walked in and he kind of nudged us and he pointed at us and pointed at it and he kind of waved us over and we walked up and he took the top off and he obviously he wanted us to take some pictures. So we took some pictures and then he sat down and he pushed a CD case over at us and said, he didn't say anything. He's just like pointed and I picked a CD and gave him, he put it in and he sat there, he's bopping away. So these were kind of, and that's like an 18-inch sub there at the bottom. Everything's
so that's a speaker. We're looking at a speaker right now.
Yeah, you're looking at like 50 speakers.
I don't know what I'm looking at. It looks
so there's like a whole bunch of tweeters in that dodecahedron or whatever is at the top, and then another 12 or something around that middle tier, and then that thing at the bottom is like a 15 or an 18-inch driver pointing downward. Although I couldn't tell that it was playing because there was very little bass coming out of these things. But it looks like they 3D printed the box. It sounded okay. It wasn't bad. It didn't blow my socks off. I don't think I would want to put that in my house, But yeah, I'd see that orange thing that he's holding at the top there. That's like the grill that goes on it. Now it could never be an outdoor speaker because as soon as it rains, that thing's going to blow up. But very interesting piece. The most interesting piece I saw at the show.
It's
not the best sounding, but it's very interesting.
Yeah.
And I think he's using another SteelSeries rack there on the left, if I can identify that correctly. Okay, these Polks in one of the Mini Sound United rooms. This is probably wins the Best Buy award. These guys were just outstandingly dynamic. Not
there's the Reserve or the Legend.
Legend, I think.
Legend.
I think it's Legend. But they sounded great. Not the best thing, obviously, but tons of bass, very dynamic, low price point. So if anybody's wanting to move up from like some commodity level kind of speaker stuff into something that they can get some really good sound out of, that's not going to cost an arm and a leg. I mean, this is definitely a gateway drug right here. I mean, they're pretty rocking, really rocking, and not a lot of cash to get into these guys. So I recommend those guys. This is in their DefTech room. and using Marantz gear there in the middle. And I think that Marantz record player at the top looks really good. But this is the new version of DefTech. The last time I had a pair of DefTechs were the BP 2000s from like 1996 or something. And that's back when they still had the powered subs. So these are all passive, and the big drivers on the side are passive radiators. Okay, so these are the ones that I really liked.
Okay.
So these
That's
are the
the
D4s.
D4 Diamond Bowers and Wilkins.
Yeah, powered by the Class A speaker, which
Ah,
I always thought was kind of funny because it's Class A is the name, but it also runs its Class A up until like 35 watts. So it's a Class A up to 35 watts. Then it's Class B, but the name still says Class A.
got it. So these really stood out for you. It's interesting how you mentioned them at the top of the show.
Yeah, most improved. Most improved. Because the D3s I didn't care for. These I like a lot. And it's strange that whatever changes they made can really change your opinion on a speaker, but man, it really changed my opinion on the speaker.
I mean, they could have been used with different amps, different room, could all have played into when you heard them last, right?
That all could very well be. Whatever happened this time, though,
It worked. Yeah.
it totally was working for me. Maybe it's the Class A amplification, but I really think it's the changes they made in the speakers. Okay, these are Manger audio, and this is another bit of gear from I think MoFi. I think it's MoFi. It's doing these guys. Got great sound and stuff. Very interesting driver design. It's a little bit different kind of design. They actually pass the driver around. People should go check that out and take a look and see just how the driver works, because it's totally different. Okay, now we're talking my language again for stuff that I really like. So this is Hi-Fi Rose. And on the right hand side, you got their RS-150 player, and then on the left, you've got their new integrated, which is like all steampunked out. And it's just, I'm like, these guys they were smoking some weed or something when they were doing the design on this, because it's awesome. I mean, it's so different than anything else you're going to see, and it's just really, really cool. I love it. These are Piegas, and I love these Piegas. Sounded amazing. Here's a close-up shot of that the new Hi-Fi Rose integrated. I mean, it just looks badass. I mean, just look at it. It's awesome. It's so cool.
Not much like it out there, huh?
No, I mean, I've never seen anything. I think the gears are absolutely useless, right? They don't do anything except look cool. Man, it's just,
is that volume control for the gears, or what is that on that side?
yeah, that spins up and down the volume. I believe that is correct. And you spin the gear in the middle, and then across the top, that red line moves left and right. Yeah.
Sounds like ultra precise volume.
Maybe
you need that many gears to.
I don't know. It's got little clickers, and then the speaker output selector, clink, 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 right? And it's like they took like inspired by the 70s or 80s ish kind of stuff, maybe even 60s. I don't know. It's interesting. These guys are pretty good. I'm trying to find a picture that shows their name in the back. Verdant Audio, is it? Yeah, Verdant Audio. These are pretty good. And they have the second bass driver hanging out of the bottom. You can see the magnet on the back there. So those are pretty cool.
And we have to remind everyone, pretty good means extremely good, but in the context of everything here.
Yeah, in context of $500,000 Wilson speakers, right? So they're pretty good, right? Yeah,
pretty good.
So, like I said, if anything I didn't like it, I'll just tell you I don't like it. So when I say pretty good, it means that they didn't like jump out and slap me around in some way that made me say, "Oh my God, this is exceptional" in some way. But every one of these speakers, I would be super over the moon to have in my home to listen to every day, if that makes sense. Usually bad stuff is not displayed and shown here, right? This is good stuff, right? It's not like these companies can come to and pay for these rooms if they're not able to sell some product and make some money off the quality of their gear, right? Yeah. And these are not ohm speakers. I think Dan was like, "Are those ohm speakers?" No, this is like OLM or something like that. But Vinny Rossi, so he makes the amplifier stack there in the middle. Well, not all of those components are his, but the one on top is. And this really cool gear, looks really awesome. and I love the aesthetic. It's really nice. I mean, just that piece on top is his. Yeah, I love that thing. It's quite spendy, but very very cool amplification. I mean I think that the whole ensemble that he's put together there, it
Mm.
just looks so good.
And
You
they
know
put
that
the sign behind it to make it
he
easy
did,
for
so
you.
you can know who it is even better. And it was funny. He got up there and said, "Hey, today, I'm Vinny Rossi, and we're gonna look at Vinny Rossi gear." And yeah, I'm Vinny Rossi. That's me. Okay, this goes into the Y category. Um, so these are like these big cubes that have like these bass drivers on all sides, and then some kind of interesting, I don't know, horn in the front or
Yeah.
something. I wasn't super impressed by these guys. They were all right, but they were all right in a way of I don't know. So
Yeah.
I don't think I have a name for them. I wouldn't want to put that in my house. Maybe it's just me really not liking the styling, and that's informing my decision about everything else.
And there's no plants in the room, so that probably
Well,
impacts it
there's
too.
pictures of them at least in the back, right up there in
Okay.
the top right
Oh,
corner.
right.
But yeah, no. Rhythm, these were fine. Nothing stood out to me. They're very different design. They are all in one kind of powered speakers, so you can see the tube in the front of the speaker there for the amplification.
Mm.
So it's kind of an interesting little setup. So you've got that i-fi streamer DAC there, and then I believe it was just sending out the information over RCA or something to the amplifiers in the speakers, and they were playing. And it was pretty cool. Okay, JBL. Now this room rocked. So this was good. I enjoyed this stuff. I like JBL. Big fan of all their stuff. Again, another very accessible product at a price point that anybody can find a piece of JBL gear to get into. But it was is really good. And like these are the little version of their bigger orange speaker that I don't remember the model of, but it's kind of funny, interesting little stuff. And they used to write speaker stands too, which I just like that little tripod. But I enjoyed that room quite a bit. We're gonna go through. I know we're going long. I don't remember what these were. I actually posted this up on my Instagram and said, "Does anybody remember what these are?"
Mm.
Um, triangle stuff sounded great. I've got a pair of triangles downstairs. Another brand that's very accessible. Another Pangea rack there. I don't remember what this was at all. Oh, I guess these are more triangles. Okay, yeah. This is the higher end stuff. I've never actually touched these before myself. And oh yeah, I remember thinking to myself back in the day, isn't that styling kind of informed by Bowers and Wilkins a little bit?
Yeah, it
Um,
does
but
look like it.
but I'm not sure who came first, honestly. Was it Triangle or Bowers and Wilkins? I don't know. Um, let's see what we've got here. These look like they have a hazmat symbol on the front or a BMW symbol or something.
Mm.
Um, like from the car, not BMW, but BMW. Uh,
Oh, BMW.
you see on the
Okay.
bottom right hand side looks kind of like a BMW logo. Uh, we'll skip past all this stuff. So when I said I had a lot, so we're back to more
You got a
YG,
lot.
YG and Sonner. I think Dan really liked these speakers. I think these hit the list for him of really good, awesome stuff. And I thought they were fine, but I remember again, fine is pretty darn good. Vanna,
What was that?
these right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
These are probably the ugliest speakers that I've seen there, but they sounded really good. So yeah, I don't know what brand they are.
They're
We
like
need to have
hexagon. They're
every
hex
manufacturer should be on the stream so they
pentagon.
can call out and say, "No, that's ours. That's the so and so model." Um, um, you know what I
Yep.
mean. Paradigm Founders, they were quite good. Again, another speaker they can get into. Maura Wilson. Uh, there were several pairs of these hanging around for different companies that wanted to use those to show off their amplifiers and that kind of stuff. Martin
Right.
Logan, the big electrostats were
Right.
there. Not the big. These aren't the monoliths or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, still quite good. Can't go wrong there. These are monitor audio. I'm pretty sure. I believe that's what these are. And then this is another favorite of Dan's, the Estalons.
Mm.
I think this might be his like forever speaker if he can get his hand on a pair of those.
I
They
think they're quarter mil.
Yeah, I wouldn't
speakers.
doubt it. They're very nice. They sounded great. They look awesome. I really like them a lot. Really good. Now we're at the Jubilees with klipsch,
Okay.
and these are their humongous monster speakers. The setup on them was not the best I've heard, and they obviously don't need the 12,000 watts of power or whatever they're being fed. Most people use like 2 watts with these things because they're like 200 watts sensitive or some crazy number. Not It's like 101 or something, I'm sure. But super huge and really big, and they have that klipsch heritage sound that is really really popular. So happy to see these, and we're kind of getting close to the end now. So
So klipsch Jubilee, right? That's what those
klipsch
are.
Jubilee, yeah. And so I took this picture and I posted this up on Instagram, and I the caption was, "I'm getting a pair of these, but my wife doesn't know yet." Because she always complains about how big all this stuff is, and these were like the biggest ones outside of those other big horns that we saw from before. But these are pretty huge, and I thought I would just scare her with that post. But
Those are massive.
I'm not actually getting a pair though. Now we're looking at some headphone stuff. So Hi-Fi Man, one of my favorite companies. Those guys make really really great stuff and really great people there as well. And Dan over at Periodic Audio, and Ben there beside him on the right hand side in the back of the glasses. Another set of great guys. And these I use Periodic Audio almost a daily basis as a daily driver for IEMs.
Hmm.
So really good stuff there. Uh, uh, Bravro.
Did you get to try any of the headphones or
Oh yeah,
mainly
totally.
just
Yeah, yeah. No,
okay,
I didn't hear anything that I really disliked there. There's varying levels of like or like a lot. Um,
right?
I don't consider myself to be like a super headphone aficionado though. So I think my opinion probably carries a little less weight there. But that's it.
All
That's my
right,
photo
cool.
set, and that's not
That
everything,
was
but that's a
not yet.
lot of stuff.
There's more coming apparently. So nothing stood out to you in the headphone section
Well,
as I
no, I mean,
gotta get these. I gotta have
so
them.
I know the Sysvara from Hi-Fi Man is awesome. The Odyssey stuff, I didn't have any pictures of those, but Odyssey, they have really great stuff that you should go listen to. On the last day, there's this little sound booth from this company. I think it's Warwick headphones. Those were really, really good. Like I said, the per listen stuff was good. There's a lot of U-turn, like Project U-turn or Project Turntables was there. I didn't get any photos, but I love their stuff. I just didn't get a chance to cover any of that. There's so much stuff there that it's just I in between, hanging out and talking with friends, and I ran one panel discussion there as well. So I did that for their show. Um,
What was that
yeah, yeah.
about?
So it was about a room acoustics and building a room to optimally show off your system and how you should do things from both an aesthetic point of view and also an acoustics point of view, as far as room dimensions and room treatments, and then material science and all that kind of stuff into what kind of sofas and this, that, and other do you want. And I was the moderator, and we had 3 experts there, and I helped lead them through that conversation. So that was fun to do. And I hope I get to do more of that in the future for other things as well. But that was really cool.
Yep.
So between all those things and then meeting with manufacturers reps to talk about new things coming out and making plans for
Right.
content for the future, that kind of stuff, I kind of squeezed in as much as I could.
Yep. We got Mitch Anderson, our podcast producer, just joined the live chat. He asked, were there any Rupert Neve headphone amps?
Um, Maybe.
Maybe.
I didn't have the opportunity to listen to any Rupert Neve headphones though. So maybe they were there and I just didn't see them. So what was really nice is they had a whole section dedicated to headfi, or however you want to
Mm,
call it. And I scooted around there, and I didn't stop at all of the spots, mainly because there were 3 or 4 places in there with people that I wanted to know, that I know personally, and so I just went and sat down and talked with them for quite a while. And then
right.
I'm all like, oh man, there's no time
Right.
left.
Hi-Fi
What do I do?
Turtle said they were there, so thanks, Ray,
Yeah.
for
So
filling
Ray
us
knows,
in.
yeah, Ray has absorbed everything
Right.
that I didn't.
Right.
Um,
Since we got a
so
couple of you in the live chat, I want you to answer some of these questions too. But what was the longest line, if there was one, for any room? Do you
there were
recall?
long lines to get into the Sound United rooms.
Okay.
So that was I think those are probably the longest lines that I saw. Most of the rooms you could kind of float in and out of pretty easily. The Focal room had quite a bit of traffic, so I think people had queued up to hear the home theater demos and those kinds of things. But the the longest line that I remember was the Sound United rooms.
And that was partially the Bowers and Wilkins stuff that you
Yeah, it
loved.
was it was the Polk room, the Bowers Wilkins room, and the Definitive Technology room. Yeah, they
All
they
right.
they might have even had another one that I'm not recalling, but those are the three that stand out to me.
All right. And you previously said that the Bowers and Wilkins stood out. Is there any, are you planning any type of ratings, awards, anything for your channel to like
Well,
highlight anything coming up?
sure. So an award coming from me is very auspicious. So I think I'm going to release a set of auspicious awards this year for for the show,
Right.
and do things like my favorites, because I'm nobody's paying me to do awards. So if
Right.
people want to pay and put their name in the hat for an award, I'd be more than happy. $1,000 per entry, go for it. Send me a check. I'm happy to entertain that. But I don't know that I'll do like best of show, but maybe the HTF auspicious award for most liked this and most liked that, and
Right.
it'll be things that for me kind of stood out that I think people should look at for one reason or another. But definitely the new diamonds would be on the list, and a number of other things that I'll put out there as well. But
So
yeah,
are these things we should look for on the Home Theater Fanatics channel, we hope, coming up in the
well,
next year?
yes, sure. Well, you mean as far as product reviews?
Product reviews, yeah, whatever that you
I've
hope to
never done a
cover.
product.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never done a product review for any Sound United product out there. Working with them, like I've bought a Denon AVR with my personal
Right.
monies and did a review as I installed it into my room. But I don't have a relationship with those guys yet. But I would like to change that. I'm very happy to cover that stuff. So yeah, I hope to be able to cover these things in so much as I can figure out how to make it happen between now and then. Sure.
Right.
All these things that I've talked about, I absolutely love, and I would love to talk more about them for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Does anything come to mind as the talk of the show? Maybe if you didn't see it, other people were talking about it?
Well, the talk of the show was just that the show happened. I mean,
Okay.
and not I know that's not what you're fishing for, but people were just they were so thankful to be at a show, right? Everyone was so super happy that they made it there. And people didn't decide to cancel last minute and pull out or anything like that. The show went off. It went off really well. It was produced super well. I mean, hats off to Liz and everybody else, doing the work to get the event together and out there. Um, but no, that I didn't hear any big scuttlebutt of, oh my God, did you hear about this? Or, no big rumors or anything crazy like that. Just everybody was super happy to be there. And, some cool things that happened to me from a Giles point of view, um, on the last Home Theater Fanatics Christmas Festival, where we give away a bunch of stuff every year.
Mhm.
We gave away some tickets for Axpona, and I there was a couple there that had won the tickets, and
Mm.
this guy comes up to me, he's like, "Hey, Giles," and I'm like, "Hey," he's like, "Oh, you know me?" And I'm like, "No." He's like, you shouldn't. I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "But I won these tickets on your show, and we don't ever get to go anywhere or do anything. And we won these tickets, and we said, you know what, we're gonna do it. And me and my wife, we came out here, and it's first time we've done anything, everything. It's awesome." And it was really nice that he was able to kind of come out, and when he got there, he met Liz, and she actually upgraded him to a higher version of the pass to help
Mm.
it be a little bit easier for him to get around and stuff. And it was really awesome that Exponent was able to do that for these folks and get them out to a show. And he was
Right.
just so happy. And he was going into, I think, the Focal room at the time, so he was going to be even happier after he went in
Right.
there.
Right.
um that's another one. So I got to meet the manufacturer's rep for Focal, and Focal name, and I'm really hoping to do some stuff for them. I'm going to have them on the show. So that
Mm.
that was really great for me because I'm able to build that relationship at the show,
Right.
and have them come on my stream and that kind of thing. So that I'm really looking forward to. But um I don't know, that probably didn't answer your question in any
No,
way
that
that you
was
wanted it
cool.
answered, but
So you
but
got to meet one of your home theater fanatic
well, I got to
fans.
meet a lot of folks there. There were a lot of folks there, and I got to take a lot of pictures with people and that kind of stuff. But that one was particularly nice because,
Right.
it's not the normal the normal crew. I mean, some
Right.
folks you're going to see there no matter what, right? They're like, hey, we go every year and blah blah blah, and
Right.
that's great. But this was a person that um, probably would not have otherwise gone,
Did you feel
right?
like people recognized you from your
Um,
channel at all?
sure, there were a few,
Yeah.
and it's nice. I don't have like the largest channel out there. I'm not a Darko or a Steve Gutenberg, right? Um,
Right.
but a handful of people, they come up and like, hey, I'll take a picture, and like, I'm from South Africa, and blah
Right.
blah, and I'm from this country, and that was
Yeah.
really cool. And they're like, hey, can you do a review about this thing? And I'm like, I can, but I don't have one. So you know for everybody out there, the stuff doesn't magically appear. I got to figure out how to get it somehow. So if you want me to
Right.
do a review of something, pack it up and send it over. um
Right. Right.
but no, I did. And then what was really nice, though, even nicer than me being recognized, is Bass Therapy got recognized by this one guy, by one of the room vendors. And we went in, he's playing some stuff, and he said, hey, can you play this? And he's like, well, this is kind of stuff I've got. And then he's like, hey, you're Bass Therapy, right? He's like, yeah. He's like, you're the guy. And he's all, I am. Yeah.
Um,
He's like, here, I'll play whatever you want. You just tell me. We'll anything. Let's do it. And so I thought that was really nice. So Dan's coming up in the world. It was really, really cool. And I remember the first time somebody noticed me or recognized me, I was like, somebody watches my channel. Oh my God. And obviously people do, because there's thousands and thousands of views. But
right.
when you're out somewhere, it's like one time I was in this mall, and this guy comes up to me. He's like, hey, will you take a photo with my son? And I'm like, I don't, I don't know.
Uh,
He's like, well, he watches your channel. And I'm like, really? How old is he? He's like, oh, he's 8.
he's
And I'm
8.
like, okay,
Cool.
let's do this thing. I didn't know I had an 8-year-old demographic. But yeah, it happens from time to time. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So other than the focal person that you met, any new people that you met who you previously didn't know?
Sure, probably 100,
Or
right?
anyone that stands out, I guess, is really the question.
Gosh, I hate to say that, because that'll make everybody else kind of feel bad. They all stood out. So I'm not gonna call out and you say, oh, this person was the best one ever.
Uh,
But just know that if I talk to you at the show, I really appreciate your time, and
yeah.
everybody that I talk to.
Okay, diplomatic answer.
Yeah,
Got it.
totally,
Got it.
totally
Got it.
diplomatic answer. But so many people.
Right.
Um, but uh, uh,
Well,
but it
Black
seemed like
Circle
the
Radio
old.
wants to know any music that stood out in the demos.
Yeah. So if you guys want some cool music, talk to the folks at Aratai. Send them a message and get a list of the stuff that they were playing in their room, because Aratai had really cool music. In general, all of the music there was horrible.
In general.
In
Horrible.
general, it was all audiophile trope music, right?
Hmm.
So it's all the same stuff that you've heard 1,000 times. And I find it really hard to create an emotional attachment to the equipment when they're like, let's listen to something dynamic, and they're all like, oh, I've got this Mozart overture to play on vinyl. And playing it on vinyl is great, but man, I don't want to listen to another Mozart overture, right? It's just not, I don't know. I mean, my tastes run a little bit different, right? And I want
Right.
something, that I can get up and listen to music to. So JBL had a great music for their stuff, and all of the Sound United rooms were playing really good stuff.
Hmm.
SVS, they were demoing Ready Player 2 or Ready Player One.
Play one.
That's my forward looking. I hope they make Ready Player 2 one
Right.
day. But Ready Player One, they had. I was like, yes, all right. It was a home theater demo. The Focal room was good, but in general, most of them were playing very much Diana
Right.
Crawl,
Hmm.
number 242, right? I'm like, come on, let's just something. Oh my God. And you would be like, hey, can I listen to something that plays a little bit lower or is a little more dynamic? And they're
Hmm.
like, oh no, this is all we got. And I'm
Was
like,
anyone letting you bring your own music? Was that a thing for
very
any?
few, very few. There were a handful of places that would let you make requests. But the reason being is a lot of places were having problems with the internet, so they couldn't stream. So they just had what they had. And I didn't ask anybody to play a CD or anything. Like, I don't bring that kind of stuff with
Right.
me, right? Yeah, just if I can show up with a camera, I'm ahead of the game.
All
Um,
right.
but so there were a handful of places taking requests, and for
Mm,
places that were doing that, bless you, you're the best ever. Thank you for not playing the same audiophile song I've heard 200 times again,
yep.
because that doesn't make me more interested in your stuff at all. And
Right.
my concern is that they play this kind of stuff because there's some kind of deficiency they don't want you to find out about. So
Mm,
here's like the 5 songs, and these sound pretty good, and this is all we're going to do.
right. Right.
You know what I mean? So it's invariably those 5 songs are nothing that I would listen to on my own time. I can appreciate music of all genres,
Right.
right? The Lenny was playing some really good stuff in the MoFi room with the Wharfdales. And the Wharfdales really stood out to me, really low cost point to get
Mm,
into. And he was doing a stack of 2 pair turned up on top of side of each other, as what's called an Advent stack from way back in the day. And it just blew me away. It was really awesome. And he played some really cool stuff. He played a song by Macklemore, and
mm,
it was really good. But yeah, in general, the music in general, when
in
I go to a
general.
hi-fi show, I don't go there to hear music that I'm going to like, because they don't play stuff I like.
Right.
Yeah.
So what about just the show itself? Anything that you'd like to see better for the next show, or what comes to does
Sure.
anything?
So the things that I really appreciate about the shows, they are working very hard to make this more broadly interesting to people. So on Friday night and Saturday night, they had concerts,
Mhm.
right? So you one night was a blues concert, and then there's another singer, and they're both folks that I would never choose to go listen to myself. However, it was kind of fun to be able to go and have free live
Right.
entertainment. Well, free and included in the low price, right?
Right.
um, I thought that was awesome. That was super cool. So big thumbs up on that. I think that was really cool. The fact that they had a marketplace and a headphone area, big thumbs
Yep.
up on that. I think that's great. That broadens the show out. The fact that there were some multi-channel companies there doing things,
Mhm.
big thumbs up to SVS. I'm really glad you guys were there. It was really nice to see Nick and Gary and everybody there, and chat with those guys. They're always awesome. They do their own weekly live stream, and I hope to be able to go on their
Right.
show one day and chat with them a little bit. Great company, great products, and super customer service. I mean, just they're one of the they're kind of big, right? They're a lot more mass market than a lot of the companies are,
Right.
but they still keep the customer service really, really
Right.
high. So I love that. Um, the venue was fine. Elevators were horrible. They're always
Mm.
horrible everywhere. No, hotels just aren't made to carry that many people up and down, and that's just one of the challenges of this type of show. But that's just something that you need to expect. Recommendation: always take the elevator one time to the highest room, and then take the stairs down.
Gotcha.
Right? Yeah, don't try and go from 8 to 7 in an elevator. Take the stairs. That's the secret. That's the tip to everybody out there. Always go to the top. Ballrooms were nice. They were large and spacious, plenty of them.
Mhm.
I think the hotel had plenty of room, and they could have stacked another 3 floors of vendors on there if they want to try and break 200 or some crazy number. But really, there
Right.
were enough people there, enough vendors there, that you didn't have enough time already. It would more
Right.
be better? Sure, why not? Bring it on. More the
Right.
merrier. But it was huge.
What about the number of people? Did it seem overcrowded?
Friday and Saturday, there were a lot of people. There were a lot. Sunday was pretty sparse,
All right.
or it was much more reasonable in any event, but it was pretty crowded otherwise. And I think that's kind of par for course. Everybody says, "Oh, Sunday's always kind of light," so I don't think that was anything new. I think that was normal. But there were a lot of people there. There were crowds.
And do you remember, like, the age demographic? Does anything come to mind as
It's like 90% 60 and older white dudes.
okay, typical audiophile?
Yeah, typical. But there were some younger folks there, and there were more ladies there too. So it was nice to see the demographic spread. I think was probably the best I've ever seen it anywhere. But the group is still heavily skewed older white male, right?
Mhm.
That's the vast majority of the folks that were there. But it was more diverse than I think I've ever seen a show before. Although that doesn't mean it was like very diverse.
Right.
Yeah, but it was good. Good to see a change. I
All
think that's
right.
moving things in the right direction.
No, it sounds like it was a great show, and the next show coming up, I think we're both gonna be at, is the home entertainment show.
Oh, super excited for that one, yeah, and, I like Chicago, it's great, but I prefer Long Beach and the California venue,
Right.
and that's just personally because I have a lot of friends that live in California. I lived there for 15 years,
Yep.
so I know a lot of folks there, so it's kinda like going back home.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so we have that show to look forward to coming up in less than 2 months now,
I know it's
June.
gonna be off the hook. I mean, it's gonna be awesome. I'm really, really
Right,
super excited, and I'll be talking about that show a lot more as we lead up to that, on
right,
my live stream and just in my content in
right,
general. And I will be showing that, I will be, um, at that show, and I will be creating more content specifically around that show. So, I will be much more engaged in, let's make sure we have, photos of everything with more information than I was here. So I will be much
right,
more engaged for
because
that.
you are I think we could talk about that. You've
Oh, we
been
totally, yeah,
named
yeah, totally.
the ambassador for the home entertainment show.
That's right. I'm one of the 2 ambassadors, so I am gonna be there to help cheer the show on, and I'm super excited about that. And I'll be there every day and working ahead of time to make sure that the word is out about who's there and what's going on.
Right.
And it's man, last year it was for me last year the home entertainment show was a lifeline
Mm,
because it was the only one I went to for the whole year.
right,
And I was just so happy that I could make it to a show, and the plan is for it to be even better this year than it
right.
was last year, and keep growing. So super, super excited for the home entertainment show.
So I think the big headline is 2022 shows are back. They've been happening on regular schedule since the beginning of the year, although Axpona was postponed from 2021. But yeah, the shows are happening. Yep. So we have Axpona just ending, the home entertainment show coming up next in June. And is there anything else from your channel that you want to mention about live show, live streams, or reviews coming up?
Sure. So I have a ton of reviews coming up. I have a backlog, and it's going to cover everything from hi-fi to multi-channel to PC gaming. There's a broad plethora of things coming, and I still need to grow up and be able to schedule these things and tell people when things are coming out. But I'm not quite made it there yet.
Okay.
Um, but there's a lot of stuff. But every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Mountain Time, you can jump on and see the live stream, and I've got a lot of great stuff scheduled there coming up
Right.
here in the near future. So I'm really excited about that. Samsung's going to be back again. They're one of my favorites. I'm really
Mm,
looking forward to that. And then in particular, next week I'm going to have uh, Keith Yates. Right, so he is super famous in home theater world.
mm,
He'll be on to talk about the Keith Yates design collaboration with Kaleidoscape,
mm.
and that's going to be happening. Hey,
Hi,
Amika, see you
Emiko.
down
She
there.
just joined.
Yeah. So he'll be on the show, and I'm really super excited about that. I've never had an opportunity to speak with him before, but
Right.
he designed the Han Theater, which was the theater of the decade, and
Right.
he's brilliant.
Mm.
And I'm honored that he would take a few minutes to come and be on the show. So that'll be coming
Oh,
up here very soon, next Tuesday, in fact. So
no, that's great. I want to
yeah.
thank everybody who's been watching. And if you came in late, Giles has about 4,000 slides that we went through earlier from all of his pictures from Axpona. So backtrack and look at some of those. And I just want to thank Giles for taking the time to tell us what he saw. And we're all going to look forward to the home entertainment show in Long Beach, California, coming up next in
It's the
June,
one.
June
If you don't
10th.
have your tickets, get your tickets because
So,
I'm sure at some point it's going to sell out, and they're going to be like, "No mas." So
right,
don't let that
right,
happen to you.
right. So, yeah, thank you so much. And we'll do this at the next show.
Sounds great. Looking forward
All
to it.
right. Thank you.
Take care.